If you also have the same interest like I have, and if you already study business with technology, and you also want to gain your own first working experience, you might have the same question like I have: how difficult is it to find a good job? Before we start the video, if you like this video, leave a subscribe, leave a comment. You can ask me thousands of questions if you want to, and of course subscribe to this channel because you can get more content like this one. So let's start. To make this situation more comparable for you, I would like to share with you some 3 bullet points which will help you in your decision. So the first bullet point is, I'm right now at the beginning of my 3rd semester, and I also study business with technology in Berlin, and I also have no experience in the IT or in the financial industry. And the reason why it is important to understand those 3 bullet points is because a few months ago, let's say like 6 to 8 months ago, I also tried to apply for several jobs, and I had really the big difficulty to get like a positive response, to have like, let's call it an application talk. And there are of course many reasons why it doesn't have worked like I expected. Probably the first reason was because my motivation letter wasn't good enough, or probably my cover letter had a few mistakes which made me look like not in a positive way as it should be. And in my own personal opinion, the biggest reason was because I was from the first in the transition of the 2nd semester. So this is probably a reason why some companies will say, hey, this dude is probably a good fit for us, but it is probably too early to hire him because he doesn't have like the right knowledge, the right work experience, so we can hire him. Because oftentimes companies, when they hire you, they always take a risk, a financial risk, to give a contract to you, because they will probably lose money, because you probably don't have the right skills to help them. And you always have to understand from the perspective of the company, the only reason why they hire you is because they want to make more money and they want to save more time. But if there's somebody who don't have the right experience, you will cost them money, you will cost them time, and that is the reason why it's possibly a little bit harder for you. So what I try to tell you is that if you're studying in a probably higher semester, or if you're also already in the 3rd semester, the chances are getting even more better to have a positive response from the companies. So the other bullet point why I told you that I'm studying Berlin, the reason for it is that Berlin, like for example London, is like a big major city where you will find a lot of startups. And if you also live in a bigger city, it doesn't matter where you live, it is enough to live in a bigger city because you will always have bigger job opportunities. But especially if it's a bigger city where you have a lot of startups, they are highly looking for people like you who have the knowledge from the business aspect, who have the knowledge from the information technology aspect, and you will see that it is much easier to find a good job. And the last, and I think the most important point, is the work experience. So if you're in the same situation like I am, you have no experience in the industry before, it can be getting a little bit difficult for you in comparison to somebody who has this type of work experience. I know that your professors are going to tell you marks are really important. Yes, they are, but you have to understand that different types of studies have different types of future requirements for you. So let's make a good comparison. So what I have heard for people who are studying, let's say, movie making, it is not enough to just have like good marks, but oftentimes bigger companies who are interested to hire you will probably ask you to show them your projects you have done during your studies. And this is the same type of situation people probably will face when they apply for IT jobs, because companies also can ask you to show them your portfolio, what kind of projects have you done. And this is the reason why marks are of course important, but in my own opinion and from my own experience, marks aren't the only one reason why companies hire you. So right now, a few weeks ago, I have written like about 10 applications, and from those 10 applications I had like 3 positive responses, 1 negative response where they told me unfortunately they're not interested, and 6 other applications where I still doesn't have any response yet. And 3 of those 6 applications were so-called initiative applications. I hope I have spelled it right. But those types of applications simply means that you just apply for a position which doesn't exist in the company, but where you personally think that you could be a good fit for the company. And so I think getting like 3 positive responses, having like application talks with the companies, I think this is somehow a good result. It's not like the best one, of course, but still it is a good result. And so from my own experience, I can tell you that if you try to get a job, a working student job, in the certain industry you're interested in, you will definitely get a good one. And this is also an important thing you have to understand, and this is the reason why when I applied earlier, I had like a few difficulties, and one of the reasons was because I didn't know how the industry in the business information technology field look like. Because you have to understand that when you study business information technology, you can work in the financial industry, you can work in the let's call it IT industry, and even in those both industries, which are like the major industries, you will have like different types of smaller working field where you can specialize yourself. So when I have written my first applications a few months ago, I didn't know much about the industry. I also didn't know much about my own interest, so I have written like many applications, and I had like many of negative responses. And this was also one of the reasons why I wasn't successful a few months ago. But right now, when I have written the applications right now, and I knew why I write this application, and I knew that I can definitely make the work which was required. I also brought the skills which were necessary. I had like a much easier time. So 3, 2, 1. If you have watched this video to this point, I think you have enjoyed somehow. So I will ask again, leave a like, subscribe to this video. You can definitely ask me many questions about the application processes if you want to. And if you have other questions about the study itself, you can write right now the comment. I say in German, Dankeschön for watching, and we're gonna see us in the next video. Peace.